and welcome to this 5th episode of my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram and Ravelry under the name Wolwerkjes. Let's get started. I'm not wearing any knitwear today. So I'm wearing a scarf on and off because it's quite chilly outside. So in-house it can cool down quite a bit, but when I'm walking around and doing stuff, I heat up quite easily. So I don't have it lying around now, it's downstairs. And you'll see it another time. I have one finished object for you this week. And that's my marit mittens. Where are the marit mittens? I think it were. Yes. By Ellie from Skeindeer Knits. And I have two, and they both have a thumb, so they're really finished. And I already wore them, so they might look a little bit wonky here and there. This is the pattern on the front with the flowers and the cuff, and the back side with the graphic pattern over here, and on the thumb there is also, I think it's a flower, and the inside of the thumb always matches with the pattern on the inside of the mitten. I really like them. They're made out of my hand-dyed yarn at the back. It's a DK weight merino, and it's with orange and browns and some flecks of blues and reds and greens. So I really like it, and the brown color is Navia Duo held double to match the thickness of the DK weight. And I really like them. One warning up front, I've done quite some knitting the past 2 weeks, only just on one project. My projects were at home and I wasn't. This was the only project I took with me, so most of the knitting I have done is on this one project, which is nice for me because I get a really lot of result in this project, but it's a little bit more dull to watch because I don't have that much knitting to show you now. The project I've been working on is the owl cardigan by Marit Chiba, and it has this really nice owl lace motif at the back, and it's a cardigan, so it has buttons up the front, as you can see, and you can optionally put the pockets. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that yet. And let me show my progress on this project to you. I'm quite far along. I've done quite some repeats of the owl lace already, and it has some shaping, I don't know how it's called, waist shaping. So that took me a while. Waist shaping. It has some waist shaping, so at the place of this marker I have first increased some stitches and then decreased them. Other way around. I decreased some stitches and then increased them again, so your cardigan will have the shape of your waist. And they also did something clever using short rows to make room for your breasts. And you don't get extra stitches, but because of the short rows you create a little bit more room around that area, so that's nice. So your cardigan won't be popping open because of the lack of room there, so that's really nice. And I've come to the height where I have to join the sleeves. So I first have to knit the sleeves now before I can join them. And I'm almost finished with one. I dropped some stitches, I just picked them up. Otherwise I have a larger problem in the future. So not really how they're supposed to be, but I'll fix that later. So I'm nearly done with one sleeve. You can see my stitch markers at the places where I increased. It's really nice that you can, I can't try on the cardigan itself, but the sleeve you can try on, so that's really nice. So you get an idea if the pattern is working for you, with if I have measured my gauge right and those kind of things. Something is falling down. Oh, excuse me for that. Shimmy machine. Oh no, it's a normal needle. Don't know how that got there. So I fitted them and they look really small at the cuff, but it's really a stretchy cuff, so it fits me. I tried it. So almost finished with one sleeve. I have to knit the second sleeve and then you join them all together to knit the top part of the cardigan, and then of course you have to finish off the cardigan with button bands and the buttons itself and those kind of things. But yeah, I really like working on it. It's a lot of stockinette, but it has been really a while that I did a large project with only stockinette without color work or anything else. And of course this has the lace pattern at the back, but it's only, I think, 30 stitches or something. You have to work in the lace and you have to work in the chart, and because it's quite little amount of stitches in comparison to the rest of the cardigan, it's going quite fast. And it's not really difficult lace, and you only have to do one. You have to repeat the pattern going up, but you don't have to repeat the pattern sideways. You just do one chart and then you're done with it. So that's really nice. And I marked the outer stitches of this lace pattern on my stitches, so I don't have to count or anything. I just knit up until I meet the marker, and then I have to be a little bit careful doing the lace, and then I can go on and stockinette again. So that's really nice. And I don't really have much else to tell you about this. What I can tell you is the things I want to knit and show you the yarn I want to use for it. So let's grab some yarn and show you. I don't have it here, so I put out the camera and get it. So here I'm back again, a little bit out of breath. I had to run around the house to find stuff. I haven't started my... We're in November, right? Yes. I haven't yet started my November socks. So I picked out the color I think I'm going to use. And I think they're really... It's a sparkle yarn. And I think it's really Christmassy and fun, and everywhere around you see the winter decoration coming up, so I think it will be fun to be knitting on something like this. It's by Long Yarns. I don't know if you can read it. It's Male Colory Socks and Lace Luxe. It's a superwash yarn, and I think it's 75/25. Yes, 70. Oh, not quite. 73% virgin wool and 25% nylon and 2% polyester. And polyester is of course the sparkle. I should have known that it wasn't 75-25 because there's sparkle in it. So there's 2% sparkle in it. It's not really that much, but it's enough to make it really festive. Last month I was really annoyed with the yarn I chose, and I think one of the problems was that I wanted to do a textured pattern with the yarn, and that didn't make it enjoyable. This is also a single ply, I think. When I look, you can see it's quite highly twisted, but at the color change you can see that those color changes aren't two strands that are twisted, but it's just the wool that's changing color within the one twist. So it's a single ply, so I'm not gonna do texture, I'm just gonna knit plain vanilla socks, and I think I'm doing 1x1 rib, and I'm starting. It's really fun to have really large festive socks, so you can really show them off out of your shoes or something. That would be really fun, but that means I have to start toe up, and I like the toe up cast on. I use a Turkish cast on for that. It's kind of like the Judy's Magic cast on, but it's without twisting the yarn. You just wrap around. You can find tutorials on YouTube. You just, with the Turkish cast on, you just wrap around 2 needles, the amount of stitches you want on each needle. So for instance, I want 10 stitches on both my needles. I wrap the yarn around both stitches together 10 times, and then there's a way of picking up those stitches, which is quite easy, which makes the seamless toe. And I can't see the difference between the Turkish cast on and Judy's Magic cast on. I can't see the difference, and I think the Turkish cast on is much more easy to memorize, and I just prefer that way. But when you prefer another method, that's totally your choice. But I like that method, and I really enjoy knitting up toe up, but as I have already said earlier, I really hate the cast off edge, the bind off edge at the cuff of a toe up sock, especially when you want them high up. You really, yeah, I don't know yet. Maybe I will just weigh my yarn, and I always, most of the times I do a afterthought heel, so I can just knit a tube, and when I'm at 40% of my yarn, I just put in the toe and knit the other tube. And in the worst case scenario, I have to put on a different colored heel. But that doesn't really bother me. That's in my shoe when I'm wearing it. So I think this will be my socks for this month. The theme of this month is gift knitting, so they want you to knit a pair of socks for somebody else. But I already knitted for the most people I know that would wear the socks, because I find it's not nice to give hand knitted items to someone and you are not sure if they're gonna use it or not. So I'm a little bit careful with just knitting for somebody else, and with socks you have to measure foots and stuff, so I'm really careful with that, and I really would like this to be my own socks. Just enter once in the knit along. I don't mind. I'm not joining for the prizes, I'm joining for the fun, and so I can tell myself I knitted 1 sock each month this year, just for my own pleasure. So that this will be a cast on soon. I don't want to make the same mistake as October and waiting until the last week. And we're already halfway, so over halfway of November, so I really should cast them on. I think I will cast them on this afternoon or this evening. Another thing I want to knit is the fjer, I think it's called fjer cardigan by Lerge from Fibertales, and she has the Fibertales podcast. And I dyed up some of this grey wool, and I kept it mostly undyed but added some flecks of color throughout the skein. And I don't know if you can see, but it's like reddish color and like purple, orange and some green as well. It's not really easy to show on camera, but it's really subtle, and I think the fjer cardigan she designed is perfect for subtle colors. This was some test color I did for myself. I just wanted to see how this base took up the dye and reacted with the colors, and I really enjoy it. So this will be a base coming into my shop someday. And the only thing is I only dyed 3 skeins. I have more, but I only dyed 3 skeins. So I hope it's enough. Worst case scenario, I have to dye another one, but because it's hand dyed, I want to alternate skeins. And in order to do that right, I have to note if I have to dye another one while I'm knitting it. I can't just say I finish all my skeins and oh, I don't have enough, I'll dye another one, because you can see the color change in the garment and I don't like that. So that's the only thing that's kind of holding me back a little, but I think this will be a really good combination with her pattern. And when we're speaking about dyeing, I want to knit my sons a winter hat. Until this year I always bought them a hat. I don't know why, just because the time I think, oh, I need to knit them a hat, it's already cold and they already need a hat. But this year they still fit in the hats from last year. So I can keep them warm if I want to, and that gives me time to knit them something. And they have jackets now. With my oldest son has a really bright orange accent in his coat, and my smallest child has yellow accents in his coat, and I was thinking of dyeing yarn for them in those colors. And I think these were tests from when I've showed before. I always test my colors on the yarn because it can be different on yarn than in the liquid form. So these were tests for my colors. I always mix my own colors. So this is the primary yellow, and this is the, I think it's 50-50 magenta yellow, or maybe the one, no, I think it's the 50-50. And I think for the coat this is quite the right color for the orange one, but I think I'll need to add a little bit of green to the yellow skein, so I need to add blue, not green, because green isn't the primary. For those who want to correct me, it needs a little bit more a greenish undertone to fit with this coat. So that will be one of the things I will be doing the next few weeks. And I hope I can show you more different things next week, because as I said, I only knitted on one piece and that's fun for me, but not so much fun for you. I have still my sheep shawl to work on. I have socks I want to work on, and maybe I will also cast on some new mittens, and I want to knit hats for my boys. So I think that's enough things to get started, and I hope to be able to show you more things in 2 weeks. So have a nice week, and we'll see each other again soon. Bye!